can I achieve consistency in my golf game?
Learning to save strokes around the greens and get up and down is a huge part of becoming a more consistent player. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to hit a bump and run.
First of all, let's define a bump and run. Bump and run is to just hit the ball a very short distance on the fly and let it roll the rest of the way. So you just bump it with your club and let it run out, roll out the rest of the way. Bump and run, okay? Very simple shot, doesn't have to be complicated at all. Sometimes people mishit these or set up incorrectly, so let's get to it. We're gonna make sure that we set up to hit the ball low. And the idea is that it would fly a very short amount of distance, however much you need to carry the rough, the fringe, etc., and get on the green surface, and then it would roll the rest of the way. I'm going to choke up. I'm going to take about an inch, maybe an inch and a half off the club for greater control. I don't need the full length of the club for club head speed. So first things first, we want to set up with a narrow stance. My preference is to start square and pivot the forward foot open. I like to see the ball back in the stance on the instep of the back foot. If you want to hit it particularly low, you could even back that up to the middle toes of the trail foot. That's okay too. When you do that, it's going to tend to put the shaft in a position where it's leaning forward. And on top of that, we're going to put 80% of your weight over on the front foot. And both of those things, the weight on the front foot and the ball being back in the stance, are going to promote forward shaft lean and de-lofting an already fairly low lofted club if we've selected a 52 degree. So when we set up that way, we want to be a little bit careful that we don't present too much of the leading edge. You've got to think about the ground condition you're playing in. If it's severely soft or wet, that might dig in a little bit. So if that's the case and it is wet, you can also just open the club face about 10 degrees. And that'll help present some bounce to the ground and make sure that you don't just dig it in the ground and get stuck. We don't want to gouge this shot, but you don't have to attack it severely to let it bump and run. The next thing that we have to do is more or less keep this triangle that I've started out with. There's a triangle that I reference in other videos and a triangle that you'll see between my two forearms and my chest. I more or less want to move that triangle as one. I don't need much in terms of club speed from my hands. I don't need a lot of club speed from my arms swinging independent of my chest. So I'm really going to park my weight over on the left side and I'm going to turn my chest back and through. And I'm going to keep my hands pretty quiet. And that's going to help me to control the club face so I can present a consistent loft. I can present consistent club speed to the ball, and therefore I can judge how hard I'm going to hit the ball and control my total distance. The only factor left is basically the length of the stroke. Now, if I want to hit a shorter shot, I'm going to control the length of the stroke back and through. It's going to be a little bit shorter. Okay, you're going to notice that I more or less am taking it back the same distance as I'm taking it through. If I want to hit it a little farther, I'm going to increase the length of that stroke. If I really need to hit it farther, we're kind of getting away from a bump and run. If I need to hit it a longer distance across a green, you might consider going lower lofted than just a 52 degree. You could go down to an 8, 7, 6 iron, heck, even a hybrid, and just basically putt the ball across the green if you have a big, wide green in front of you and not a lot of trouble to carry over. Okay, so we're going to hit a couple. Very safe shot, a very forgiving shot, especially if I've got that face open. Even if I do bump the ground before I hit the ball, it's going to bounce, and you don't have to be absolutely perfect with your strike here to get some good results. Yes, these are adult wedges and they are 1/2 inch over length. I just have long arms that look like kitty wedges. If you're practicing this indoors, you can just try to focus on how far you're carrying the ball. That's about the best thing that you can sharpen if you're hitting balls indoors. Just make it hop a couple of feet in front of you. If you have the space for it, hitting a shot where you get it to hop a little bit farther from you. Okay, be careful obviously if you've got things that are in the house that are breakable. I don't want to be blamed for any of that. You know, if you can control how far you fly the ball and you can hone that ability while we've got time inside to practice, then you can go apply that to the various surfaces you may be playing on. If it's soft and slow, you may have to hit it a little harder and carry the ball farther and get it to roll a little bit farther. If it's really firm and fast, you might barely need to bump the ball and watch it roll. Either way, having control over how far you fly the ball is the real key to being able to hit a solid bump and run and control your total distance traveled. I hope that helps. Thanks for the question. I will see you on the next video. Take care.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss future videos when they're released. I realize there's a lot of good content out there, but as always, thank you for taking the time to watch mine. I appreciate it. Thank you and have a great day.